Hello, future STEM leaders. This is the mentorship sessions at the STEM Festival 2024. We continue our journey of inspiring, impactful stories. And today's session is even more interesting because this is not a new face. We've met our mentor before, and he's reached newer heights, and he's happy to share that with us. We'll be speaking about STEM development, STEM communication, and Africa's development. Promises to continue to be wonderful, but let's hear quickly from our sponsors. We are proudly brought to you by Primetime Limited, in partnership with Pepsodent, in support of JuPay, Money Transfer, Bell Beverages, YFM, and GTP.
Ow. Let me see.
She's never had a toothache before.
There might be a cavity. Don't you use Pepsodent?
We used to, but I'll try the new one.
Ah, that's why.
But doesn't every toothpaste give cavity protection?
Not really. Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter repairs tiny invisible holes to give 10 times stronger teeth. Will you trust Pepsodent?
Definitely.
Pepsodent, 10 times stronger teeth.
Use Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter.
I know you are there. Come on, Akoto. Come see Capremi.
Hello, Alpha.
Come on,
Yeah, the landlady is here today too. She's harassing me this morning. Yes, come and see how I'm sweating.
Well, if I catch you,
Yes, the number I sent you the last time. Yes, use the JuPay app. It will come right now.
Dear bra. Ah, so I'm sick of mommy. Give me my money. Me, Jimsika.
We didn't know. What your JuPay is here? Yes, Karanabe. Your JuPay.
JuPay.
JuPay is the best money transfer app that is used to send money directly from the US to Ghana free of charge. They have the best rates in the market and they are very competitive. And until a scanner can abroad.
Welcome back. Uncle John, you know you're not new to this family.
Good to be here.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yes, 2 years
And the story
ago.
was different.
Yes.
And today we'll be speaking about what?
Communication in STEM
In Africa.
as well, yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Maybe just tell us a bit about, like I said earlier on,
Yeah.
we're just trying to just appendage everything STEM to STEM. So
Right.
communications in STEM,
Right.
development in STEM. But
Right.
really, what is STEM communication?
All right. So I think that basically when we talk of STEM communication, it is the whole process or art or science of communicating. In other words, disseminating, demystifying concepts and ideas in STEM to a non-STEM person or a non-technical person. So that is how I'd want us to look at the concept of STEM communication. So it's two sides of the equation. On one side, we have our scientists, we have our engineers and our technical people, and the greater majority remain people that are not too closely aligned to STEM or may not be technical enough to understand what goes on in the field of STEM. So the communication is the bridge that allows the development from the STEM field, the concepts that have been developed, the ideas, the solutions.
Yeah.
We bring it to the non-technical people for them to understand, appreciate, and be able to embrace the solutions that comes from the STEM field.
So we can see the rest of them, maybe 80%
Yes.
of that number, of the general number, being the consumers
Yes.
of that which STEM gives us. So it's very
Exactly.
important that your consumers
Yes.
understand the
Yes.
product to be able to
100%.
appreciate it. But why is it important?
Yes, so typically, especially from where we come from, we have a lot of mysteries surrounding a lot of things
Myths.
that are typically scientific in nature. But the perception we have most of the time is that a lot of things has to do with the supernatural, right? So let's say a simple science technology that allows you to probably wave at the dustbin and then it opens and you drop in your litter. For the non-technical person, How is that even possible? The dustbin is a non-living thing. So how can that sense and know that you are approaching it and you want to draw something in and then it opens for you? So our work in the STEM communications is to be able to help the non-technical people understand some of these concepts so that one day would embrace it. Because you see, it's a different thing when you get development from STEM and people don't embrace it. So imagine we have two types of dustbin. There's one that you wave at and then it opens. There's another one you actually step on the pedal, then it opens. There's another one you have to actually lift and put in the rubbish, right? But knowing that to avoid contagious spread of diseases, it is better to have non-contact with dustbins. So, well, science develops that concept that allows you to just, by sensory motion, allows it to open automatically and drop it in. If you bring this into a community and you don't spend time communicating what the changes are, it will surprise you. A lot of people will skip that particular dustbin and go ahead and still lift the cover and place the refuse in it. So it's important for us to be able to break some of these concepts down, for people to understand, for them to embrace, and also for people to support. So if there's a conscious campaign to prevent people from getting contaminated as a result of engaging with rubbish and things like that, then we need to get people to support the concept and be able to help spread the implementation of that particular scientific intervention. And it is money at the end of the day. So bear in mind, if you're not able to communicate well with your stakeholders, they may not be willing to pump money into it. Most of the time, it's just the prototypes we see, but going into commercialization is a lot of money. So imagine a pure science person standing in front of an investment committee trying to convince them to give about $1 million to a particular project. It may be difficult because of the language barrier and the terminologies and all that, but that's when STEM communication comes in to ensure that we bridge that gap.
Yeah. John, you're a strategist and over 15 years experience doing that. What will go into a strategy for a budding STEM innovator, even even at the SHS level? On the 21st, 22nd, 23rd at the National Theatre, we're having our SciTech Fair, and there will be exhibitions. So from many of these schools, the 10 shortlisted schools that have these wonderful innovations to exhibit and even to vie for the position of the 2024 innovative idea, they do win, and they are looking at churning out, like you're saying, commercial grade, etc.
That's right.
And then they're building their strategy. What will go into such a strategy?
Okay. So I think that the very first thing is the concept of the model you're working on. Very important. It has to be able to pass all the technical barriers. It has to be able to pass all the technical tests to really ensure that, yes, you understand what you're applying and you're able to actually solve a problem or make things easier. That's the essence of STEM at the end of the day. That's one side of the question. Now, there's also another side where you need to consider your end users, the people that are actually going to benefit from the technology that you're putting out there. I can tell you that there are about 1,000,001 scientific ideas that people are not running with because they don't connect to it. Even though they are brilliant, sharp ideas, if you are unable to interpret it or able to help people embrace that new technology, it will stay on the shelves for exhibition. So people go and watch it and they clap for you, but when it comes to actual practical use of your inventions, it may not be something that may appeal to people. So apart from developing the scientific aspect of it, you need to look at that area where you need to help people understand the relevance of what you are doing. So I think that is where a lot of scientists or science people or STEM-related people should be able to also pay attention to. It's not just about the invention, it's not just about your brain work, but it's about you being able to sell that concept for people to embrace, for you to get the necessary support to be able to scale up whatever you are doing, and then you can make some significant progress. And I tell STEM people all the time that, look, it's not just about the ideas. At the end of the day, it has the potential to put money in your hands. It has the potential to put bread on your table. So you can't stay in the lab for 24 hours and come back and die out of hunger. You should be able to find a way of commercializing your findings such that you're able to get support. And for information, there's a lot of money being pumped into research, a lot of grants being released into research. But if you don't know, and if you are unable to really get to connect your concepts or your ideas to the stage where people are willing to pump money into it, you will always be in the lab wearing your big spectacles and nothing good comes out of it.
You see, and so for folks, it's not enough just having the brilliant idea Uncle John is sharing. the concept must be sharp and right, and should be able to connect with our end users. Looking at the rest of us as consumers, we should be able to connect. So in putting that story around the product, the solution, it should be connecting. And so that's what communication does. So in putting together a very strong strategy around how to tell the story of what you've put together, you have birth in the lab, if you may.
Yeah.
It has to be a strong communication plan,
Yes.
a strategy that will sell.
That's right.
Awesome. Awesome. That is for the product. What about the person? Often we're talking about brand visibility. You, the person, you're as good as your product.
Absolutely.
Because then there's trust.
Absolutely.
You can turn out a good product and then people don't trust you.
That's
People
true.
will end up not,
That's
buying into,
That's
your idea. So the person coming out with the product,
Yes.
what can
Yes.
we do?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We're young innovators and we want to know.
Right. So the easiest thing or easiest advice I give when it comes to that angle is for the people behind the science to understand that they have a greater audience they're engaging with. So again, it's not just about your product; it's also about you. All right, your personality, the for a lack of a better expression, the swag you bring to what it is you are doing. Right now, we're in a technologically advanced world, thanks to digital and social media. Everything that happens, people are watching, people are learning. Right, so it's important for you to also find another way or strategy of engaging with your greater audiences. Sometimes I tell science leaders that don't be just fixated with the concepts and ideas. Become a thought leader, where your voice is powerful, where when you speak, people listen to you, because you should build a certain level of expertise for yourself, create that niche for yourself such that you'll be listened to when it comes to influencing public policy around STEM-related issues. So I think that we will have to also look at how you can put yourself out there.
How to put yourself out there.
Very
But I'm
important.
shy, Uncle John.
We are all shy. We all started from a place, But the point is that there should be a conscious effort to build your self-esteem and self-confidence, because these are things that beyond the explanation behind your idea, people are looking at. So for the pitching sessions, for example, you realize that somebody may have a very brilliant idea but may struggle to pitch and therefore will not even gain anything at the end of the day. But somebody will have not too much of an extraordinary idea, but because the person is able to communicate better, has a lot of confidence, is able to connect you to the importance of what he or she is doing, they're able to win that opportunity and then they're able to advance what it is that they are doing. And we shouldn't think that we're the only one innovating in our labs. A lot of innovation going across the world. So it's a competitive world at the end of the day. You should be able to tell the story well to be able to gain the support you need. I know of a young man who was, at that time, he was into coding, and spends lots of hours behind the computer. And the parents didn't understand what he was doing. You're always behind the computer, what is going on? So even from the close people around you, if you're unable to get a buy-in from them, you may not get the necessary support to be able to continue with your ideas. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I think that it's important for STEM lovers and STEM people to also look at that area where they can develop their sense of self-confidence. And they shouldn't say that because we're science people, we will not learn proper communication. Because we're science people, English is not important to us. It's about the formulas. 3x squared minus 5 is equal to 4. But at a point, you may have to break it down in logical, ways where other people who are not necessarily technical people
In
will be able
everyday
to understand.
language.
Everyday language, that's it. So it is very important. Let's look at those two sides all the time. Don't just be fixated with the ideas. Look at how you can communicate with the rest of the world, share the ideas with the rest of the world, and then you open yourself up to a lot of investments.
Any toolkit you have for us whilst we prepare? I'm shy, I'm coming out of my shell. What do I do?
So I think that the thing I've learned about building self-confidence is that once you do it over and over again, you develop the art, right? So for example, what it is you're doing, somebody will be shivering at home and say, I will never be able to face the camera and talk. But I can also say from my experience when I was presenting on TV, my first day was a disaster. And it's normal for some of these things to happen, but as you do it regularly, you build your confidence. So right from your lab, after your many hours behind your lab equipment and all that, take a break and then talk to yourself. if you have a mirror there, if you have other lab people you're working with, just present to them, tell them about your ideas, share your concept with them, try and pick feedback from them. And in doing so over a period of time, you are developing your confidence, you are building your sense of self-esteem, and you are able to continue that particular trajectory. So I think that practice is very, very important. Let's not take that for granted. The more we practice, the more we build our confidence, the more we're able to build our sense of self-esteem, and then we are able to connect with so many other people or stakeholders that can help us achieve our purpose or goal.
That's excellent. A few thoughts on what potentially, of course, not potentially, but there are barriers. And so maybe how we can navigate barriers that come about.
Yes. So, yes, for barriers, it will continue to happen all the time. Even when you're able to cross one hurdle, that's not the end of it, because as your audience grows, you have to also develop other skills that will allow you to be able to engage with them. So the number one barrier that you may be faced with will be the idea of rejection. Because most of the time when you share your ideas, people don't buy into it. People may laugh at you. People may make fun of it, especially when they're unable to envisage what it is you want to do. You are the scientist. You are the person with the science and the knowledge, and you are the person that understands where it is you are going to. But sometimes the process of developing new concepts, the process of invention, it's not just a one-day story. It takes series of actions that will eventually result in that prototype that will actually work. So the first thing you need to have at the back of your mind is that, yes, when you encounter rejection, when you encounter people that don't buy in directly into what it is you're trying to do, it is absolutely normal. It is fine. It is said that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. It took so many ways. He tried and failed so many times until eventually he got it at the 100th time or so. So it tells you that, yes, that failure may come, that resistance from people will come, but at the end of the day, you keep your focus on the benefits of what your product is, or the benefits of that intervention you are rolling out, and that can keep you going. So that's the number one barrier. Sometimes you may find difficulties when it comes to accessing funding to be able to do what it is you want to portray or bring into the space. So you need to also have that at the back of your mind. Yes, it may be difficult with funding and all that, but with the little you have, you can still focus on that and then do something to the point where you have something to show. And most people are willing to invest into things that they have proven, they have tried, they've tested. All right. So your core focus shouldn't be initially on the commercialization. It's about getting that one thing right that will sell, that will allow you to be able to leverage on that, to be able to win in a lot of investment, to be able to continue that particular idea or that particular project.
Super. So point is, you have the product.
Yes.
You need to make sure, you may have many ideas. You need to have one product that you're sure of. Of course, selling it to your immediate environment,
Yes.
telling them about it, using various storytelling techniques.
That's right.
And then seeing how they respond to it, taking that feedback,
Yeah.
trying again. Maybe trying another audience,
Yes.
not hostile, but an external one, a new to you environment is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then test how you're able to portray, and then let's see what their feedback is. And with maybe
yeah.
a lot of iterations, you
Yes,
see
you
that,
get it
oh,
right.
it's now second skin.
That's right. That's right.
Wonderful toolkit there, Uncle John. The last time you were here, the conversation didn't take this journey. So
right.
people will be wondering, if I go back into the archives, I've seen Uncle John appear before, but today he's
Talking
taking
on a
more. So
Yeah.
why are we having this conversation?
Great.
Focusing on communications today. The other time we spoke about health
That's right.
and all of that,
That's
management.
Right. That's right. Leadership and
All that. But today, why the change?
Great.
I know
Great.
why, but
So let me let you in
Viewers.
on what has happened over the past 2 years. So my core training and education is in communication. So right after school, I have been actively involved in the communication space. I've worked with a number of companies and organizations, trying to help them with their communications. But it came to a point where I had to spend a lot of time working with Koforidua Clinic to be able to also learn, because you see, it's all about adding value to yourself at the end of the day. And I tell people that sometimes when you do it and it works, you can tell people the story and you are more believable because you have done it and then it's worked.
The brand is sharper.
The brand is sharper, right. So I had been heavily involved in science, using the Koforidua Clinic as the basis to understand more about STEM, because I initially did some STEM in secondary school. I was a science student, but I shifted off to the social sciences and I ended up in the communications. But I realized that it came to a time that, yes, I still felt that that communication part of me has not yet been fully utilized. So when I noticed this opportunity to work with the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, I felt that it was a very brilliant opportunity to bring together all the skills I have gained over the years to be able to help in the STEM communication, because I realized that that is also a very important part, telling the story, shaping the narratives, getting the buy-in. Very, very important. So I took up this challenge, and so far it's been so good, and I'm happy I made that decision.
Congratulations.
Thank
A
you.
big one. So senior manager
Communications
at the
African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. So let me tell you something more about it. So it's a Pan-African Center of Excellence, across a number of countries in Africa, and the focus is postgraduate training in mathematical sciences. All right. So we have an office here in Ghana. And Ghana is special because we are UNESCO Category 2 in terms of classification. So that brings that kind of ambience to the work we're doing here.
The visibility.
In Ghana. Exactly.
Sure.
And then we have offices in South Africa. That's where it actually started from. Senegal, Rwanda, and then Cameroon. So the idea is that we are trying to bring knowledge to the brightest in Africa, the young people in Africa who are determined to go into the STEM areas. We are ready to provide that postgraduate training for them, equipping them with the knowledge and the information. And our vision is to make them thought leaders, because we don't just believe in just training people and giving them knowledge, but you prepare them holistically so that when they go into the world, they're able to quickly make impact and contribute to development. So the focus of AIMS is to prepare the brightest. We call ourselves the brightest institute because we're able to attract the brightest of students. So for example, the AIM Center here in Ghana has students from all over Africa. It's not just restricted to Ghana. So we have students all over Africa who apply. They go through a very rigorous process, and then they start their postgraduate training in the mathematical sciences. All right. So at the end of the day, the skills they gain, the knowledge they gain, is to prepare them to become thought leaders, influencers, business leaders who will make a big difference in the area of STEM. So that is what the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences is about. And as you may know, we are very big on STEM as well. So we are not just, teaching in the classroom, but we are consciously engaging public engagements to bring to light some of the innovations and development that comes out of STEM and how we can apply to solve our day-to-day problems and all that. So it's a whole a system that has been built to ensure that, yes, we're able to give young people that opportunity to learn.
Well, it still seems you're still catering to postgrads, so isn't there a plan to come down?
Yes, there's a plan.
Community engagement, as it were. So for some of us who want to volunteer, in maybe one or two of your projects, as it were, is there any room for that?
Oh yes. So the whole idea is that, let me try and then break it down more for people to understand. So the courses we run in the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences are accredited courses that is comparable to every or most of the universities that you find around. So the knowledge you gain, the certification you gain is powerful. It is not just like a casual thing you're doing. It's a full master's degree course that brings you lecturers from all over the world to impart knowledge and information to you. And then you are taken through the mail, you write your exams, you do all those other things, and then you actually graduate with a post degree, all right, in mathematical sciences. Yes. Awesome. And then that allows you to actually go back into the world. For those who want to go into business, those who want to even still go into academia, we still have some structures in place that allows people to even go beyond the masters and do doctoral studies, PhD, and then all that. So that's part of the pipeline. But specifically to your matter, we also have other projects that are not necessarily academically oriented. So first, it's an academic institution.
Okay.
We have accredited the necessary accreditation to run the courses we're running in the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences.
Fantastic.
But because we're also STEM related, we have other interventions. So for example, we have a project for young girls in science because the admission we do at the postgrad level, we are targeting about 30% to be women.
Female.
And sometimes it's difficult, female. Sometimes it's difficult because, especially in this part of our world. So we are creating pipelines that will allow us to provide that kind of interest in the young females for them to understand that there's a lot of prospects for them in STEM. And then once they're able to go through the secondary school, go through their first degrees, the point or place we want them to think about when it comes to postgrad education in STEM should be AIMS, right? So we have a project that is feeding that pipeline. We have other interventions that allow students to go back into the community to give back into the society, all right? So there are several points of engagement that can bring the community together to be able to achieve the goals of AIMS.
Maybe you can mention one or two of these because I know there are events, there are conferences, maybe camps that you may be having. So maybe if there's some in the pipeline for 2025 or closing 2024, so that mostly our viewers, because some are mostly SHS students, and so maybe may not be ready to apply for a postgrad.
Right. So for the females interested in STEM, we have a project that targets young girls in science, and we give them that training. We actually do a virtual training for them over a period of time, and then we bring them physically into our center for about a number of days for them to get hands-on experience and understanding into the field. So what I would say is that maybe at the end of the show, I'll direct you to our website, I'll direct you to our social media pages. That's where we keep constantly updating the opportunities available so that you can get yourself plugged into it, and then you can actually benefit from some of these interventions we have.
Excellent. But as for us, when we are here, we want to get into the heart of the matter.
That's right.
You've taken this decision because, of course, this is your training and this is what is calling on you. But we want to be there with you in that moment when you had to take the decision, because Koforidua Clinic and leading it is not just any other staff rank and file, but you were the leader there, face of Koforidua Clinic, and taking that decision. Some of us may not have that option, so to say, but sometimes we're faced with a decision to make where, how do I go for this apple or do I go for the orange? Maybe share with us how you take these kinds of very strategic, life-changing decisions.
Right. I have always believed that whatever you do, especially in your career, prepares you for your next stage. Right. Believe it or not, that is what it is. So if you look at my career trajectory, I started as a teacher after senior secondary school. And for me, it's the teaching that gave me the confidence to stand in front of people and to build my communication skills. At that time, I didn't even have any idea that I was going to venture into the field of communication. But that particular job I did as a teacher gave me that understanding, gave me that preparation for the subsequent careers that I did. So after teaching, I went back to school to do a master's in communication studies, and that also opened me up to a lot of opportunities. And I went into the media to also work with the media for a while. I went back into the corporate world. I did something with the British High Commission. I did something with Invest in Africa. And then I came back to TV3 to work with them for a while before eventually I ventured into Koforidua Clinic. Now, the whole thing is that the core skills I have, my core expertise is in communications. And I tell people that once you gain education and expertise to a certain level, nothing takes that away from you. And it is always something that you can leverage on to do more. And a lot of people are typically fixated with the thought that, yes, I did communication in school, so it means that after school, I have to necessarily do something in communication. Or I'm a science student, I have a postgrad in mathematics, so I have to do something necessarily with mathematics. The thing I want people out there to understand is that the training you get prepares you in such a way that in any area you decide to go into, you are able to apply yourself, you're able to learn on the job, and you're able to, of course, make impact, right? So at every point in time, just ask yourself, this opportunity ahead of me, what are the prospects? What are the likelihood that when I get into it, I can advance my dreams, I can advance the vision I have? Because you see, not everybody gets the dream job from day one.
No.
You have to start from somewhere. But at the end of the day, each step of the way, anything you do along the line prepares you adequately for that. So my engagement with Koforidua Clinic for me gave me deeper understanding of science and technology and then engineering and mathematics. And then it brought to my attention that it is important to develop that mechanism to communicate some of these things to the non-experts. So for example, those days, somebody comes to the clinic and then the person is diagnosed with malaria or typhoid. And like, oh, so where did I get this thing from? And all that. So even the art of trying to explain to the client or to the patient what it is that you are suffering from, what you can do to prevent it from, spreading or going on, is all about the communication. So at that point, my choice was to ensure that I bring my skills, my passions, and my talents to an alignment. And for me, science, when I was here the last time, it was all about science and technology and how we can better communicate, So when that opportunity came for me to work with AIMS, I felt that was a great opportunity for me to also bring my skills, my experience, and my expertise to be able to shape the narrative, to be able to empower people in STEM, to be able to be out there, to tell the story well, and to be able to get the necessary support to be able to push the advancement of science, technology, and then maths.
That's awesome. I just wanted to ask that we've heard about a formal trajectory, the education, the academia, and then the work experience. Are there any informals that may have played a role in this shaping that you're talking about?
Yes, very, very important. So the other thing too that personally I'm trying to embark on a campaign on is to help people understand that the fact that you've gone to school doesn't mean that you have to do a white-collar job. And that's a lot of restriction to a lot of people because everybody is queuing to go and work in the formal sector. Meanwhile, in the informal sector, there are several opportunities for people to apply the knowledge they've gained in school, and people are able to grow within that field and also be able to make good money for themselves. Absolutely. There are people who sit in offices in ties. At the end of the month, what they get may not be compared to somebody who may probably be doing something in the informal sector. But unfortunately, in this part of our world, we aggregate respect to those people that were in jackets and shoes and then all that. But at the end of the day, it goes beyond that, right? So there are many experiences I've had, not just in the formal sector, but also in the informal sector, drew my attention to the fact that, yes, if we are open-minded when it comes to career development, there are so many avenues that we can build ourselves and prepare ourselves eventually for what it is we've been dreaming about and aspiring to get ourselves involved in. So yes, the informal sector for me plays a very critical part. We shouldn't close our eyes to it. If you have a graduate friend or sister or brother who's in the informal sector, encourage them, let them understand that yes, they can apply that knowledge to also change that sector and build systems and structures and make the businesses even more profitable. And it is something that we need to, keep that at the back of our minds so that we don't restrict ourselves. A lot of people are home today unemployed because they've decided that I did banking and finance. Unless I sit in a banking hall, I won't do any work that comes my way. But we should be very open-minded because, the trajectory to success may come in different forms, but you should just be ready for that.
Wonderful there, Uncle John. Then it's safe to say that joining AIMS is full circle for you.
Yes.
And so with that platform, of course, you're interacting with Africa. How do you see the STEM communication and then the Africa future? Yes. Maybe if you can connect that with us, the potential with that.
So there's a lot of potential. There's a projection that says that in the next few years, the youngest people in the globe will be from Africa. And the experiences I've had so far working in AIMS shows me that there are a lot of very brilliant, intelligent young Africans who are looking for opportunities to learn, understand science, and then apply the principles of science to do something for themselves and for the society. So in AIMS, what we say is that in Africa's youth lies the future of science.
Please repeat that for us.
In Africa's youth lies the future of science.
Awesome.
We are convinced that in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, most of the scientific innovation and inventions will be from people from Africa. And that's an ambitious goal that we are working aggressively towards. And I can tell you, some of our students who come, when they get their exposure and education, they are out there in the world doing phenomenal things. Right? So the kind of training we give to Africans that come into our institute is to prepare them for the world stage. Because the problems we are faced with is not just an African problem, but some of the issues are global issues, right? So there are a lot of young people doing great things, coming up with inventions. There are a lot of young people that are even doing things that they don't even realize consciously that they are doing STEM-related things. So it's a conscious effort to drive young people, the brightest, the intelligent young people, to science as a very good option for them to explore what it is they can do to help in the development of Africa. And I tell you, not just in Ghana, across Nigeria, Kenya, Mozambique, there are a lot of brilliant Africans that are doing a lot of things to advance the cause of science. And that is what we stand for at AIMS, to be able to create that opportunity that will bring the brightest young Africans into our institute for them to gain the knowledge, build the skills, and then go out there as thought leaders and change makers to be able to contribute to developing Africa as a continent.
Sometimes I always like to, throw in curveballs just so that the road it can be smooth.
Yes.
The road to not stardom, but to the peak of your career can be smooth.
Yes.
It can also be bumpy.
Right.
I'd like to know if you've seen some shining stars climb up, but due to a thing or two, they come tumbling down. Not that we're praying that should happen.
Yes,
but
I understand.
why don't we shine our brightest is the question.
Well, there are a lot of challenges. Honestly, there are a lot of challenges. And I think that that's one of the things that I like about AIMS, working with the AIMS. We try to eliminate all those challenges and make it possible for young people to further their studies in science and mathematics, right? So the issue of, for example, cost of paying for education, access to the implements or the gadgets or the equipments to allow you to expand on what it is you want to do. That safe environment that allows you, in spite of your limitations, to still pursue, the course you want to do and pursue the career that you want to have at the end of the day, right? So the many challenges we are faced with as a continent also opens us up to be very creative in finding ways where we can actually help the less privileged, the underprivileged, to be able to actually benefit from education, because education is truly the key. At the end of the day, the only thing that can guarantee radical transformation of our society is when we invest into education, right? So for the many disadvantaged young people that are of the thinking and opinion that, yes, I may not be able to further my education, I may not be able to pursue a career in science, technology, engineering, and maths, we believe that, yes, we can give them that opportunity and still maintain the standards of education, still maintain the standards of excellence, and ensure that at the end of the day, the products that goes through our system are people that can compete globally anywhere they find themselves in.
So to say that you come to AIMS for free?
So what it is that we have a partnership with the MasterCard Foundation that allows a certain percentage of the people that come into our institute to actually have their education costs and all those related things sorted out. And then also we have a partnership with the government of Ghana that allows also a certain number of students that are in our institute to also enjoy that training essentially for free. So you see, it's a partnership thing that we're working at the end of the day. It's about bringing all the resources on board to provide that opportunity for the brightest young Africans to be able to take advantage of STEM, to be able to do something for themselves, something for the society, and of course, something for the nation.
Speaking of breaks, let's hear quickly from our sponsors: GTP, YFM, Jupe Money Transfer, Pepsodent, and Bell Beverages. We'll be right back.
Let me see.
She's never had a toothache before.
There might be a cavity. Don't you use Pepsodent?
We used to, but I'll try the new one.
Ah, that's why.
But doesn't every toothpaste give cavity protection?
Not really. Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter repairs tiny invisible holes to give 10 times stronger teeth. Will you trust Pepsodent?
Definitely.
Pepsodent. 10 times stronger teeth.
Use Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter.
Akoto! Akoto!
Hello, Alpha. Yeah, the landlady is here today too. She's harassing me this morning. Yes, come and see how I'm sweating.
Well, if I catch you,
Yes, the number I sent you the last time. Yes, use the JuPay app. It will come right now.
Dear bra. Ah, so when I'm sick, mommy. Give me my money. Me, Jim Sika.
We didn't know who. When you JuPay is here. Yes, Canada, JuPay. JuPay is the best money transfer app that is used to send money directly from the US to Ghana free of charge. They have the best rates in the market and they are very competitive. And no thing is Kano Kana Abrosono.
Jim Sika.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's always a great pleasure, my big brother.
Great.
Uncle John up here. He's our senior manager at African Institute of Mathematical Science. And he's telling us about STEM communication. Prepare your brand, think through it, make sure the brand is sharp, the product that the concept, that which you have to talk about or to share is sharp enough, the concepts are right. Look at yourself as a brand. Think about how you can connect with your audience, your consumers, them which you are trying to receive their buy-in. And of course, getting the help of experts like Uncle John and the ones around you. Of course, your parents, your mom, they can tell you if what you're innovating is right or wrong. And then from there, you practice, and you're on your way to communicating STEM to the world. Remember, on the 21st, 22nd, and the 23rd of November, we will be at the National Theatre. And it's an exhibition as part of the SciTech, as part of the STEM Festival 2024. There are 10 schools that have been shortlisted for the SciTech Innovation Challenge. Every Girls in the house, Fijai in the house, Presec in the house, Obuasi SHS in the house, just to name a few. Please don't miss it. Join us at the National Theatre, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Uncle John, and so these students will be there. Wonderful. Let me take the opportunity to even pick a few of the products that they have put together for us. We have an integrated farming system, and this is from Agri Memorial Junior Zion SHS. We also have a vertical hydroponic system, and this is from Busumtri STEM Girls SHS. Fijai SHS has an auxilium, which you're going to showcase. Ghana National has an automated solar vertical farm and storage system. Wonderful, which you're going to be showcasing to us. Obuasi SHS has an Osikeni farm, multifunctional electric farm solutions. Right. Impressive. Okwapeman has an automated winnowing machine. Our Lady of Grace SHS has what they call Garden X. Interesting. Presec, a farm monitoring system. St. Thomas Aquinas, they have a greenhouse solar-powered aquaponics system. Sunyani SHS, it's a multi-purpose solar-powered agri-tech device, which they in short call MSPAD. Ebri Girls have their Agri-Smart. Dabwasi SHS has an automated irrigation system. And the last but not the least, from Tamale SHS, they have a farming system for the development of seedlings. So it promises to be exciting. Yeah. All of this and more. I mean, from the last exhibition, there are a lot of innovations that you can, or experiments that you can actually connect with. And that's also a form of STEM communication and getting non-STEM people to interact and feel and appreciate the various interesting things, innovative products that we have within the space. So, well, we're doing it by ourselves, not just a talk shop. We're creating the platform for all of these to happen. But what do you have for us? Closing our cultural references, you know, the local Ghanaian and the way STEM is moving onto the... You are the helm of things. And you're seeing where the world is going. You are the tables, the round tables that are speaking about the things that the policies and things that are shaping the African youth future. What do you have for us?
Right. So I must commend your organization for putting
Primetime
together
Limited.
Primetime Limited for the STEM Festival, because what it is that it's a conscious effort to tell the story of
Very
STEM.
intentional.
Because yes, people assume that it's only limited to the classroom. So such regular engagements that brings various stakeholders together to come and see for themselves some of the things that these young people have been able to do, I believe is a step in the right direction.
Awesome.
And I'm also excited that these are young students in the senior high school who are directly applying the things that they learn. You know, there's a perception here that it's just about chew and pour. But these are people that are putting into practice the principles they've learned in physics, biology, agriculture, chemistry, and they are providing solutions that even for the farmer that lives far away from the center of town will still be able to benefit from, to be able to help them to be more productive. So the whole idea of letting people understand that STEM is not just a theoretical field, but it is a practical area as well that brings solutions, that brings answers, and that helps people to be able to understand ways of doing things even more efficiently and more productively. And I think that is absolutely remarkable. Now, probably in my closing engagement or remarks, I want to first of all make it very clear to those watching us that yes, STEM remains a very viable field that young people should put energies and efforts into to allow them to be able to just go beyond just the basics and actually go into the advanced application of STEM. Because you see, the world has very much advanced. In other countries, they are doing a lot of things around machine learning, AI, robotics, and all that. And it's not too far away from us. And there's that opportunity for us to embrace some of these things at this point, especially for the very young people who are already excited about STEM. Don't let anybody limit you and tell you that, oh, in Ghana, when you do STEM, you are just mixing chemicals in the lab and you are doing titration, and that's the end of the story. There is more to it than just what we learn in the classroom. And there are a lot of organizations and institutions such as AIMS and other institutions that are looking at helping young people to actually grow in the field of STEM, to become people that will be at the forefront of matters relating to finding solutions to our problems. We are baptized with so many problems, from rubbish, waste management to farm issues. And I'm happy some of these young people and their inventions, it is speaking to some of the things that are very important to us as Ghanaians. So we should not see this as a foreign subject. We should not see it as something very difficult. It is something that if we encourage our young people that are into the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, they are able to build themselves very well. They are able to contribute significantly to development in the nation. And STEM has a place in national development. It's not only about the politician, it's not only about the lawyers, it's not only about the footballers, it's not only about the musicians, but there's a place for STEM to help in finding solutions to our problems and in advancing our nation. So I think that we should all rally behind any intervention that looks at encouraging young people to go into STEM. And once they come up with solutions, once they come up with ideas, we should be willing to accept and embrace. And that's where STEM communication comes in. Because at the end of the day, if you're unable to communicate very well, you may not get the buy-in and the support for the greater people who may be beneficiaries of some of the things that you're working on. So I think that we need to keep it up. We need to continue to invest in STEM. We encourage philanthropic organizations, donor agencies to continue to support research, support education in STEM, because that's the only way we can take advantage of technology, take advantage of what's happening in the world of STEM, and then also help our nation to become better.
Thank you so much, Uncle John, for summing this wonderfully for us. I just want to recap the schools so that you rally behind them, get the momentum going, cheer them on as they are gunning towards the Sci-Tech Innovation Challenge. Who comes top? And they stand the chance of winning 20,000 for the students and the team, and 10,000 worth of science equipment for their school. Runners-up will win 17,000 for themselves and their team leader, and 8,000 worth of science equipment for their school, whilst the third would win 15,000 Ghana cedi and 5,000 worth of science equipment for their school. There are also some consolation prizes, 4,000 CDs for the 7 participating schools that don't make it to the top 3, and they win 1,000 worth of science equipment for their school. So fantastic prizes there. And so sponsors, please come on board. Let's make it a fantastic time for these SHS students and their schools. Agri Memorial Zion, Armed Forces SHS, Bosom Tristem Girls Fijai SHS, Ghana National, Obwase, Okwapeman, Our Lady of Grace, Presec Legon, St. Thomas Aquinas, Sunyani, Ebri Girls, Dabuase, and Tamale. So again, November 21st, November 22nd, and November 23rd at the National Theatre. It's going to be the SciTech Fair and the SciTech Innovation Challenge 2024. And the theme, of course, the theme is exploring agri-tech solutions in boosting in boosting Ghana's agriculture industry. So join us on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I just want you to remember, I want you to come to the National Theatre and have a wonderful time with us. Well, this is what time will permit us for today for the mentorship sessions. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, more inspiring, more impactful stories to get you ready for your wonderful future ahead. My name is Lucia Kosia-Fiadonu, and the wonderful show is brought to you by Primetime Limited, YFM, GTP, Jupay Money Transfer, Bell Beverages, and of course, headlined by Pepsodent. See you tomorrow. Thank you.